Hey there. Thanks for taking the time to be here. It really means something. If you decide to hit that subscribe button, I'd honestly be thrilled. Now let's get into it. I first crossed paths with her at a 4th of July barbecue, thrown by someone we both knew. She was impossible to miss, radiant, fearless, with a laugh that could interrupt conversations and pull eyes her way. That spark? It hooked me. As for me, I've always been the grounded type. The guy who keeps the fridge organized and folds the laundry without being asked. She used to call that dependable. Eventually, she'd call it boring. In the beginning, things were comforting, not chaotic or overly passionate, but steady and sincere, like the soft warmth of a candle's glow. We dreamed together, took last-minute road trips, shared late-night porch talks over wine. But slowly, the silence between us stopped feeling peaceful. It turned into something empty. After long shifts supervising teams at the warehouse, I'd come home to find her lost in her own world, earbuds in, eyes on her tablet, barely noticing I walked in. When I touched her shoulder, she'd startle like she forgot I lived there. I chalked it up to stress. She said she was tired. I believed her, until one ordinary night shifted everything. We were side by side, brushing our teeth on a regular Tuesday. I brought up a weekend getaway I'd already planned, just the two of us in a quiet cabin. She looked at me in the mirror and said it like it was the weather. "Landon, I don't think we need to be together all the time." I froze, toothbrush still in hand. Thought maybe I misheard, but no, she meant every syllable. She said we were suffocating each other, that she needed space, independence, a little room to breathe. Ever hear something so jarring it feels like your ribs are echoing? That was it. I didn't argue, didn't question her. I didn't want to come off clingy or fragile. I just nodded, spat into the sink, and climbed into bed. But I never slept. I lay there realizing the woman I married wanted to unsee me. So I let her. I quit saying good morning, stopped waiting up, no longer asked if she needed anything. I cooked single meals, ate by myself, did my own chores, even shifted in bed, closer to the edge, farther from her. She never said a word. Maybe she noticed. Maybe that's what she wanted. 2 weeks later, before dawn, I slipped out of the house. I brewed coffee, took a shower, packed a small duffel, and left before the sun showed up. No note, no explanation. When she texted, I didn't answer, turned off location sharing. For the first time, blocked her on Instagram. Booked a room downtown, ordered room service, went for a run, played old playlists I'd forgotten. The texts poured in. "Where are you? Why aren't you answering? What's going on?" I stayed silent. By evening, I'd missed 7 calls. The last voicemail cracked. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Please come home." But something inside me had shifted. I could see clearly now. What undid me completely? A man named Chase. Tall, smooth, a freelance photographer. They'd worked events together. His name had popped up in her texts before. Harmless at first, but always towing a line. "You look incredible in red. Smile for me today, will you?" She claimed he was just a jokester, just a buddy. But he was the one she messaged during dinner. The one who lit her up in ways I hadn't in months. I found old photos synced to our cloud, ones she hadn't deleted, selfies, inside jokes, shared grins meant for someone else. She wore the dress I gifted her, dined with him on a rooftop. The same night she told me she had to stay late at work. Suddenly all her talk about needing distance? It made sense. She didn't need space. She was chasing someone else. I didn't explode, didn't scream. That would have made it easier for her to cast me as the angry one. Instead, I did exactly what she'd asked for. I went quiet. The next morning, I checked out of the hotel and went to work like usual. No one at the warehouse noticed a thing. I cracked jokes, moved shipments, kept the pace. But in my head, I was detaching, methodically, without fanfare. That evening, I walked in to find her pacing, eyes swollen from crying. "Where were you, Landon?" I shrugged. "Out." "With who?" "No one." Her voice broke. "You scared me." I didn't say a word, just walked past her into the guest room, only it wasn't a guest room anymore. Half my stuff was already there. She appeared in the doorway, stunned. "Why are you sleeping in here?" "You told me we didn't need to be around each other so much," I said, folding a t-shirt. "Just doing what you asked." She opened her mouth, then closed it again. "That's not what I meant." "But it's what you said." Her voice trembled. "You're acting like I don't matter." I met her gaze. "Do you?" She didn't reply. And I didn't push. She turned and left. That night, I had my first peaceful sleep in months. But it wasn't the end, only the start. In the weeks that followed, she tried to mend the gaps, made coffee for two, brushed her hand across mine when passing by, played our old playlist loud enough for me to hear. I never reacted. One morning I found a note on the mirror. "Can we talk tonight?" I left it untouched, never acknowledged it. That Friday, I reactivated my gym membership, pulled back completely, picked up extra shifts, started chatting with Jasmine, the trainer at the front desk. She wasn't a rebound. She was a reminder that I had once been someone alive, visible, worth knowing. Meanwhile, Emily unraveled. I'd catch her late at night, fake watching shows, sneaking glances like I was a stranger, and honestly, I always had been. She only ever saw the man who poured and poured until there was nothing left. Now, I was a wall. Then came the breaking point. It was a Saturday. I got in late. Her perfume hit like a wall, strong, deliberate. The air was dressed for something dramatic. She stood in the kitchen in a sleek maroon blouse. The table was perfectly set. Candles flickered. "I made dinner," she said. "Your favorite, chicken Alfredo." I blinked. "You've never made that before." "I found your mom's recipe." I let out a short laugh. "You used to say her cooking was too heavy." She winced. "Can we sit?" I didn't move. "Before we do, Chase, still just a friend?" The color drained from her face. Her lips parted, but no words came. I reached into my pocket, laid my phone on the table. "I made a backup of your iPad before you erased it." Tears brimmed instantly. "Landon, I didn't sleep with him. I swear it was just..." "Just what?" I asked. "Just some texts. Just harmless flirting. Just attention I missed." I stepped in closer. "And I wasn't right here?" She sank into the chair, hands over her face. "I never meant to hurt you." But she did. And the cruelest part? She didn't notice until I stopped trying to be seen. "I know you did," I said calmly. I'd repeated it more than once. A heavy silence followed, dense and unmoving, like it settled into the corners of the room. Her voice broke through, barely audible. "Are you asking for a divorce?" I looked at her, really looked, taking in every detail. "No," I said, easing into the chair across from her. "I want you to feel exactly what I went through, gradually." She blinked, confused. "What does that even mean?" I twirled some pasta onto my fork, offered a faint smile. "You'll see." That night marked a shift, subtle but irreversible. She noticed it, too. No yelling, no dramatic exits. I stayed in the house, but not as her partner. I became a shadow that watched and remembered. Emily started trying too hard. Mornings came with perfect breakfasts, eggs over easy buttered toast, the exact coffee I liked. She ironed my shirts without being asked. I didn't request any of it. I ate in silence, gave a short nod, and left before conversation could begin. The stillness weighed more than any argument could have. She needed dialogue. I offered gestures. She yearned for closeness. I gave her the space she once insisted on. At night, her side of the bed stayed untouched. No goodnight kiss, no gentle reach. I barely acknowledged her unless it was unavoidable. She began staying up longer, staring at her screen with tired, bloodshot eyes. I didn't question what kept her awake. I already knew. Chase. I never addressed it with him. There was no need. The damage had already bled into everything. The shame on her face whenever we locked eyes told the story. So I turned inward. I picked up running after work, started spending Sundays volunteering, cut back on alcohol, refreshed my wardrobe, even grew a beard. The one she used to say didn't suit me. Ironically, Jasmine liked it. Yes, Jasmine. We exchanged conversation during breaks at the gym. She was sharp, sincere, observant. There were boundaries, but she saw me, heard me, something Emily hadn't done in a long while. The more I pulled away, the harder Emily chased. One night, she tapped gently on the guest room door. "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice thin and unsure. I paused before replying. "Why?" She hesitated. "Because I miss us." I didn't respond. "I know I hurt you," she added, voice cracking, "but I still love you, Landon. Can we talk?" Still, I stayed quiet. Eventually, she turned and left. That's when it hit me. It wasn't me she was scared to lose when she betrayed us. She feared losing the version of me that would have forgiven her. And that version no longer existed. A week later, her behavior took on a new form. Emily acted like everything was fine. She left little love notes, prepared fancy meals, invited my parents over, something she hadn't done in years. She laughed loudly, smiled often, played the role of the devoted wife. But behind her eyes lurked a growing fear, the kind that creeps in when you realize someone is slipping through your fingers. I let her continue the performance. Let her wonder if I'd ever emotionally return, but I was already gone. On my way to work, I started making extra stops. To see Carla, a divorce lawyer. She was sharp, strategic, and left nothing to chance. This wasn't just emotional distance anymore. I was physically creating space. The house? Bought before we married, in my name. The money? I had always managed it. When she asked for joint credit, she never noticed the tracking alerts I set up. She didn't realize I'd been keeping an eye on her choices, long before Chase entered the scene. She thought she was in control, but I'd already set my exit in motion. And Jasmine? Still just a friend. For now, but she saw me clearly. Saw the transformation. "You move like someone who just came back to life," she once said. She was right, I had. The moment of no return came one Sunday. Emily saw a message pop up on my phone. From Jasmine. "Proud of you. Don't let her drag you back." She didn't lash out, didn't scream, just stared, hands trembling. When I walked into the room, she met my eyes. Her voice wavered. "Are you with her?" I held her gaze. "No, but you want to be, don't you?" I didn't blink. "You asked for space," I said. "This is what that looks like." She broke. Collapsed to the floor, sobbing, fingers twisted in her hair like a desperate prayer. She begged for another chance. "I never slept with him," she cried. "It was stupid. I felt so alone. You were always working." "You've said that before," I cut in. "But when I felt alone, you didn't care," I added. Her words dropped to a whisper. "Please, don't walk away from this." I tilted my head slightly. "I'm not walking away," I said. "I'm just releasing it. That's different." She froze. "So you're leaving?" I shook my head. I'm letting you live inside the silence you created." I didn't pack a bag, didn't slam the door. I simply stopped being hers. She felt it daily, the untouched pillow, the single plate at dinner, the texts left unread, the vanished affection. I wasn't unkind, just gone. She'd asked for space once. Now she had it, with no way back. One night I came home late from the gym. Jasmine and I had grabbed smoothies, nothing dramatic. But it made one thing clear. I didn't miss Emily. The scent of cinnamon lingered in the house, her go-to comfort smell. She was in the living room, candles flickering, clinging to our wedding photo like a lifeline. "Landon," she whispered, "I made a mistake." I nodded. "Yeah, you did." Tears rimmed her eyes. "I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy. I've cut him off. I swear." "I know," I replied. "Then what do you want?" she asked, voice breaking. I looked her in the eyes. "To let you feel what it's like to love someone who doesn't see you anymore." Her lips trembled. "So this is revenge?" "No," I said, "it's truth." That weekend, Carla filed the paperwork. I left. No goodbye. Just the signed documents and the silence that said it all. She tried calling, texting, emailed me, even came by my job once. I walked right past her. Weeks passed. I moved into a condo, small, clean, overlooking the lake. Bought a new bed, and finally I slept. Really slept. One afternoon I met Jasmine for coffee. We talked for hours. Not about pain, not about betrayal, just about life. And it felt easy. Meanwhile, Emily stayed in that quiet, empty house. Cooking meals for two, eating alone. Haunted by the silence of a man she once assumed would never leave. She asked for space. Now she lives in it. That's where this story ends. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for being here. If this story resonated, check out the rest of the channel. Until next time, friend.